You know what they say, man. Third time's the charm. We'll get there in the end. It's okay. It's okay. I know the first intro was bad and you were really trying to make it work. But just let it go. Let it be free. If you love something, you gotta let it free. Like a bird or a promise. Because they taste sweet. And then you try and do the second one, and then you said fuck immediately. And then you're like, well, probably shouldn't do that. Hey, hi-ho, and howdy, everyone. It's your resident train wreck here, Shannon L. Shook. How you doing today, my beautiful, beautiful friendos? Anyway, hey, everybody. We're here for yet again another episode of RWBY Volume 9. That's right. That's the thing that I said, and also the thing that it is. Because it would be weird if I was saying it was something, but it was something else. What am I, a RWBY critic? And let's move on from this conversation. Anyway... Episode 3. I'm excited. I don't know what it's called because Crunchyroll didn't put the title up. Crunchyroll, I do want to throw this out here to you. I know it's not always easy. Like, it's difficult to make things do sometimes. I get you. I'm a human. Did I mention the human train wreck thing? Resident train wreck? Resident train wreck. Like, you know, I'm a failure. But you gotta be doing something about these subtitles. The titles is one thing, but that subtitles is a problem because that will negatively, genuinely affect your viewership. So you gotta do something about that. Thank you. Anyway, but yes, please. Anyway, so fucking episode 3 of RWBY Volume 9. I don't really know what to say before getting into this other than I quickly wanted to mention that having rewatched the previous episode multiple times when I'm not talking over it like a talkative dingus or being driven through the very mountainous caverns and crust of the earth all the way down to wherever the opposite side. Who is right below me right now? Other side of the world. Who are you? Where are you? What are you doing? Are you watching this video? Probably not. Maybe. Probably not right now, because it's not made yet. Also, you very likely speak a different language, or it's in the middle of the ocean. Anyway. Whatever it is. Hi. Wherever it is, it's where I now am after seeing Weiss. Anyway. Fucking, talk about the actual episode, not just your simpery. I did want to quickly note that I adore CC and everything he's about, and I want to see more of him, and I can't wait. And it looks like he'll probably have a decent role in this, which would make sense because we're chasing after him right now. 2, worth pointing out that I never noticed that they explicitly say that the king is no longer around, seemingly due to humans. So presumably, Alex, she went and did some silly shit and got a motherfucker killed. Or something like that. Maybe not murdered. We don't know. We tripped and fell. Maybe he's trapped in a well. What's wrong, Jabberwocker? Is he trapped in a well? Oh my goodness. Go get her, girl. I don't... Fuck it. Whatever. Fuck it. Can we tell it's been a second? Can we tell I don't know what I'm doing? It's not been any longer than previous times. My brain isn't on today. My brain was going to be on yesterday, but the episode wasn't out yesterday, because that's not how time works. Anyway, those things. There was another one that I don't remember what it is anymore. Great start. Anyway, yeah, I guess things like, you know, Neo semblance potentially having evolved. The other thing. Yeah, the idea that maybe, the people in the intro behind Neo, then maybe we do know who those are, and it's a little more singular of an individual than I was expecting. But I don't know yet, obviously. And there's very much the idea that maybe, like, all the people behind Neo in the intro those all are Neo's overactive imagination, shall we say. Also, I'm pretty sure that's literally the name of her semblance. But it's that. But the idea that it can still very easily potentially lean into the idea that it's people, obviously not all of the dead people from in the series, because you wouldn't know many of them unless there's other sorts of magical shenanigans, which in a book like this, which is the show that the book is in, you know what I mean. Not out of the question, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, anyway, that was something. I didn't look too deeply into it, what other people think, but I did see that theory come up, and I'm like, oh, that would be an interesting way of doing that, I think. And it would at least allow for characters like Roman, Carmel, James, Miss Browning, shit like that. And I think that would be interesting. But we'll have to wait and see. That is all still up in the air, and I'm curious to see what it's all about. I think the only other thing I want to get into not even really get into, but mention before we start is Aaron's been popping off about this fucking episode for like the past day or two. It was like, hey, get ready, you're fucked. And I'm like, thanks, cool, great, I love that, that's wonderful, thank you for sharing with class my stress. I don't know what I just accidentally waved over in the little bar, but I'm gonna assume it was terrifying. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and do episode 4. It pains me we're almost halfway through this. What the fuck? I'm looking forward to it. I'm here to see more of the curious compadre. I'm sure there will be more RWBY mental breakdownery. Weiss will continue to be the best thing to have ever happened to the concept of life itself. Bees will presumably buzz a bit more. Maybe we'll find the boy. Where is the boy? Where is my boy? Can we find my boy? And Neo's gonna break some shit, probably. Also, I don't think the Jabberwocker is not dead. Like, it's fine. I mean, it might not be fine. It might be all fucked up, but it's not dead. And I wouldn't have assumed that even if we didn't have a shot of it in the trailer, or like at least 2 shots of it in the trailer that we haven't seen yet. So, you know. I realize I'm working with outside information, but also just, I wouldn't think so. Did probably kick its ass a bit. Also, I gotta be honest, it seems pretty nice, all things considered. I don't know why we're beating the shit out of it. This poor fucking thing, I'm starting to really think it's like really like not a bad thing at all. And it's literally just some fucking wild animal that people keep running across and beating the shit out of for no reason. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And everyone's like, well, it looks kind of like a Grimm. And it's like, that's racist. Anyway, so I don't know. But we're gonna frickin' see, man. We're gonna what now? Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and do this. It is episode this, but we're going to do this. But it is episode this, but we're gonna do. Not do. We can do this. Would you like to do this? Let's do this. Just for you, number 4. My favorite of the number. That's not true at all. More of a 7 guy. Anyway, let's do this. This is bad. This is a bad intro to a video. Why do you watch this? Also, thank you everyone for watching the previous episode and stuff. I love you. All that stuff that I keep saying. Anyway, also, reminder as always, poll, Discord, Patreon, the number 4. Anyway, stuff like that. We're going to go ahead and get started here in 3. This is why we were going to do 3 and not 4. 4, 3, 2, 1, ding. I wanted to do the middle finger, which I did anyway, but it didn't have the same impact because I wasn't doing it for the reason that I wanted to do it. I just did it for no reason. But yeah, no. From the sounds of it, this one's really good. They've all been really good, though, so that's not saying much. It's kind of crazy how good it's been. Like, again, the first episode's very setup heavy and shit like that. So, you know, it has that to work with. And also, we'd seen a not insignificant amount of it by the time it was actually out. But the last 2 episodes are, like, 2 of the best episodes in the show. And they're not even that eventful, right? Like, they're not even insanely plot progressive or stuff like that specifically, as much as just these... It's just amazing character moments, which, to be fair, is my shit, so... I keep always looking back at the fucking cover of Roman Holiday to see if I can point out, like, fucking Carmel and James. James is profoundly... They're pretty bog standard looking white people. To be fair, they don't look like me. They're just some random white dudes. I don't really know much more other than that. I don't have a ton going for them design wise, but oh my goodness, Kitty meow. She does like tuna a lot. I love this boy. This thing, this amigo.
Excuse me.
Get your ass over here. My God. That's the opposite of what I said.
Hello, cat.
It's like doing that a lot.
Curious.
It
cat?
looks so good, by the way.
Which one do you go by?
Oh, I don't go by. That belongs to the days and the years. But if you are asking me what I am, I do suppose I am indeed a cat. Most curious.
Of course.
I just
my
love it.
friends and
It's
I
so fun.
Really need to get to that giant
And definitely a
tree,
little
and so far,
shithead
nothing
who we
we've
shouldn't
tried has
trust.
gotten us any further. It looks to me like we're even farther.
Yeah, I think that's because we're 6 inches tall.
That would definitely do it.
It could be both. The tree.
Perspective.
Tree,
On.
tree. Of course. That is most definitely impossible. You
Oh.
do not go to the tree goes to you, unless of course you're me. You see.
Not even a little bit.
Why is
That's your
that?
problem.
Why are you
It's
Mr.
not about
Popular?
perspective, I'm afraid.
But
Besides the fact that you're
to
charming as
say,
shit.
You've been there before.
So why would I ever want to go back? Yes, I'm glad we understand one another. No sense in seeing a sight seen.
You've already seen the butterfly
You
before.
helped Alex when she was...
Alex? How do you know her? Are you friends of hers? Lifelong nemesis? Wait, don't tell me. Okay, no, tell me.
We read about her in a
we
book.
Don't know her personally.
I didn't get
She
to.
wrote a book about her entire adventure in the ever after.
A book? Is it well liked?
So was she the one who
It's
wrote it
kind of
then?
a childhood favorite of...
Because I'm
everyone's.
curious how that stuff works,
Yes,
especially
oh,
with someone
please,
like
I
Oz around.
simply must know more. What did she write about? How was I portrayed? And do I smell a mouse?
From one to
A
another.
little.
Could you give us a minute, please?
Oh, so they're spoken for. Well, please hurry. I have so many questions.
Are we sure
God,
they're not
Robbie's
called
great.
The constantly annoying cat.
Got him. Totally roasted.
Guys, the curious cat was described as
So
an
proud
ally
of
with
herself.
an appetite for information. Just because they don't want to go back to the tree doesn't mean we can't lure them there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to keep their attention along the way. That shouldn't be too hard. We know all sorts of...
The cat's gone.
Yeah, that'd do it. So intrigued by the
But wait up!
the butterflies.
We'd be happy to answer them.
I sense a butt approaching.
No, I mean...
Such a dumb joke, but I love
Go
it.
to the tree, but that'll take ages, right? Plenty of time to tell you all the stuff from our world.
True.
Look,
We got some shit.
Ever seen a scroll before?
You see the last fucking volumes? Shit was
Rectangle.
wild.
Ooh. What does this button do?
My goodness.
Why is it painting tiny flat versions of me? Is that what I look like smiling? I have
Hook,
so many
line,
more
and
questions.
sinker.
How exciting.
Got his ass.
So the old man and the boy share a body now? Ooh, that's got some uncomfortable implications.
Yeah.
That was a helpful way to reincarnate.
Yeah, for her especially, honestly.
Speaking of Atlas, did that CL girl from the Vital Festival ever come back in a notable way? There's just so many characters to keep track of. Wait, what was my original question?
Blake, it's your turn. You asked about the origins of
I can't
Remnant.
fucking wait to see Arnold's fucking reaction.
Talk about a god complex, am I right?
Kirby, you little
All
shits.
in all, a rather
Yeah.
nice summary, though I felt some of the character voices were a bit uninspired. Looking at you, wise huntress.
Again, it's Weiss. Just Weiss.
Apologies. To your credit, you lot certainly know more
She's
about
fairly
the beginnings
wise.
of Remnant than Alex did. That girl could barely see past her own.
I can't get over that.
What do you mean?
All this motherfucker needed to do was also mention time dilation.
Just really concerned with trivial things.
Yeah, but she learned her lesson in the end, right?
I'd certainly say so. Oh, would you look at that? The edge of the garden's acre.
Oh, yes. Shall we meeteth the bugman next? I imagine the bugman.
This entire world is put together like a bunch of mixed up puzzle pieces. How does anyone make sense of this?
Each acre is made specifically for its inhabitants and their roles. Is it not like that on Remnant?
No?
Not really, no.
How strange. It never even occurred to me to ask that before.
I have a question I'd like to ask. How much longer before we're back to regular size?
Not long at all. The garden is just down this path and is sure to have all the ingredients we need for a lovely Grogurt parfait. Just don't go talking to anyone without me. If you're not careful.
We might get our heads cut off.
That is how we met, isn't it? Ooh, you Remnant folk are such troublemakers.
Goddamn right.
Well, I'm
Wouldn't
sure
have
we'll
them any
cause
other
a
way.
lot less trouble once we're back to normal.
Bah, I don't see what all the fuss is about. Some of my best friends are 6 inches tall. If I were you, I'd be more worried about... Oh, who was that scary sorceress you mentioned? Salim? Salem? How many more relics does she need to end the world again? How are you even supposed to
it's not
stop
great.
now that Atlas is...
Can we bring Cece along? Because I want him to shit talk Salem to her face. It would be amazing. Just watch her fucking implode
Hey,
over him being
Rubes?
annoying as fuck.
I...
Sweetie.
Maybe we shouldn't worry about home right now. We've got enough
just
problems.
hang on.
to-
the cat!
What? Oh, no, I wasn't paying attention. Where did they go now?
Oh, they saw a bug.
And you didn't say anything?
It was a very interesting bug.
Of all the characters from the book, why did it have to be the cat? Why couldn't we have gotten help from the lively carpenter or the rusted knight? One was sweet, one was handsome, and neither of them had the attention span of a goldfish.
You know, I bet you could find a goldfish in one of these ponds.
Carpenter. I imagine, is that the blacksmith person then?
Do you hear that?
The bugman. It's the bugman, I know. What is your name? What do you do? What is your voice?
Is this the garden?
It certainly looks like a garden. But where's that humming coming from?
What are you?
Hello.
I am getting really tired of that question.
It's a lot. It's loaded.
What question?
What are you?
Oh, that question. Isn't it obvious? I am an herbalist. The herbalist. At least,
The herbalist.
until I'm not anymore.
Oh, good.
No?
Well, all questions answered then.
Got a point, I suppose.
Sorry to bother, but
It checks out.
my friends and I could use some help. See, we're trying to get to that giant tree.
It's a
but
great design.
Help getting to the tree. Ah, yes. Everyone needs help these days. Everyone. in, or aren't you?
You can make us a Grogurt parfait, right?
I must say, you all seem a bit,
It's a cozy looking place, to be fair.
What did you say you were again?
We're huntresses.
And what exactly does a huntress do?
They do some hunting. They
Monsters,
protect people.
I guess. I'm sorry, I don't understand why this matters.
I don't understand how you don't understand. I am an herbalist. I make medicines and remedies to help others on their journeys. It is what I am. So, do you know what a huntress is, or do you guess?
Huntresses are heroes. We protect those who can't protect themselves.
Thank you. Now,
There you go.
would you say that you're good huntresses?
Look, can
I
you
mean,
help
I
us
would.
or not?
I am trying. But you are making this far more complicated than it needs to be. We all have our titles, our roles to play. But in order to help you become whatever it is you need to become, you should really have a better understanding of what you are now.
Okay. How do we open mushroom?
Got lots of good
door?
points. Especially
This is
fitting
how
for a...
he winds up a prince. Follow me. My work is never done.
That is an interesting possibility that I hadn't necessarily considered. But I was gonna say, it's in, you know, good choice making the caterpillar individual thing
Please, take a
For-
seat.
the change
Actually,
growth
I
discussion.
think maybe we should be going. Right, Ruby?
This won't take long. Just answer the questions.
Why? I know the voice, but I can't say the voice. Why can't I say the name?
Are you sure you know? You have to be sure of what you are and of what you're going to be.
Blake! Ruby!
What? You don't have to go forward, you know? You could go back. Back to before. What are you talking about?
It's simple, really. You could just be human. Or just a cat, if you wanted. Really, it's up to you. Why would I do that? Like I said, it's simple. Much simpler than trying to be a bridge between humans and faunus. Why struggle with that responsibility?
The Schnee name. Why bother anymore? What does it even stand for now? Instead, you could be a nobody. Could you imagine? Not a single bit of baggage upon your shoulders. Isn't that what you want? To be free?
To be something simpler?
To be whole again? No. My losses, my failures, those more than anything are what have shaped me into who I am. Showed me how I need to grow. If there's something I'm missing, it's not because I've lost it. It's because I haven't
Goddamn
found
right.
it yet. And the only way to do that is to keep going.
A simple life wouldn't be my life.
God, I love these
My
fucking
family,
girls so goddamn
my
much.
friends, my culture. I belong to them just as much as they belong to me. To give that all away wouldn't be simplicity. It would be betrayal.
I don't know who you think you are, but let me tell you who I am. I am the granddaughter of a hero and the child of a villain. I am a citizen
Goddamn
of a fallen
right.
kingdom and an heir to nothing. I will not be defined by my name because I will be the one to define it. I am Weiss Schnee, and
Fucking
I
A.
am a huntress.
I am a huntress.
I am a huntress.
Fuck, I knew it was gonna cut to fucking
Are
Ruby.
you a huntress? Like the ones you read about in books? I don't know. They always saved the day, didn't they? Always knew what to do. Always won in the end. But life isn't like a fairy tale. That's right. It's up to you to make things better, isn't it? Everything all depends on you. Your sister needs you. Your friends need you. The whole world needs you to keep fighting forever and ever against an invincible monster that took your mother. Mom was the best, but even she failed. And that doesn't seem fair. None of this seems fair. What am I supposed to do? You can do whatever you want. Be whoever you want. You don't even have to be Ruby Rose. So, what are you gonna be?
Get away from her!
Oh my, that's a bit much.
Oh, Herb, look at yourself. You're done. You're supposed to be helping others find their way, but you've lost your own. Please, let me help. And take a little bit of my heart. You'll feel much better.
They keep doing that.
I apologize. I always was a bit of a workaholic. Huntresses, was it? Peculiar things.
That was not what I expected for the end of that conversation.
Oh, I found the cat.
Yeah, you missed some shit, little man, little friend, little Miko, little buddy, little gal, little pal. Fuck. Oh, this Christopher Guerrero. Why do I remember that name? Because I know I recognize the voice, but I couldn't point to where and why. Christopher. Shit. Christopher. That's not it at all. Guerrero. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I know he voiced another character or something in RWBY. Let me really quickly restart my stuff so my shit doesn't break, and then I'll continue my train of thought and discussion and stuff. Though I don't know what the fuck to say. My brain is pudding. Yeah, it's a problem because it's a big fucking lot of stuff. But I don't know what to say about any of it because it was a lot. Let's see. What do I? Oh, he's in Witch from Mercury. You could also say death battle stuff and fucking. Sorry, this is going to piss me off. This is going to break my brain. Because the worst part is I know he did something. Yeah, I'm almost certain he did something in RWBY. He's the big skeleton in Overlord that I've never seen, but I know that guy. That's why. Fucking, I didn't even have to look all there. I looked at Paladins, fucking Genos or whatever the fuck. It's fucking Maxwell from fucking oh my god, Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. That's who that is. It's the new Pope. Okay. That's why he sounded so fucking familiar. Okay, yeah, it's Team 4-star person. Okay, that makes sense. Or at least, yeah, as in that show, at least. Okay, that's why I fucking remembered. Okay, we're getting there. I should rewatch that again. I know, again, people in the audience are like, why the fuck do you watch that? I thought you had a weak stomach, and I do have a weak stomach, but it's so funny I don't care. It's just, it's a good time, you know? With all of the blood and the vampires and the death and the Nazis. It's such a great time. Shit. Anyway. But yeah, no, I totally knew I recognized that voice from somewhere. That's exactly who that is. Okay. Anyway, now that's fucking sorted. Fuck, I don't know what to say. Because there's a lot in that. And also, it's interesting because there's a lot in it, but I tend to have this issue, and it's probably noticeable. And it's why certain videos, I think, work better for me than others. And why it's really difficult for me to continue to make a video especially if I've watched, oh my goodness, if I've watched other people discuss something or break it down, there kind of turns into like this little shut-off switch in my fucking brain whenever I'm trying to have a conversation sometimes, and it doesn't allow me to actually re-examine, or like, not re-examine, but restate information that has just been stated, if that makes sense. What I mean by that, of course, is like you had that big scene with the girls, for example. You had the scene of like, what is a huntress? Who am I? What is this? You know, Yang, Blake, and Weiss being thundering fucking queens. You have that, but it doesn't just end on that question. They fucking answer it. They know exactly what the fuck they are. They know who they are. They know what they're doing. They know how goddamn fantastic they are. Also, in general, I fucking love that scene. I didn't know if we were gonna get all four of them when we eventually did get the foggy drug talk. Because of course we'd only ever seen the RWBY side of the fog, the hints of the RWBY side of the foggy drunk talk. Drug. Anyway, point is, the fact that they then go on to answer it makes it harder for me to actually tackle the discussion, because even if I can think about 5,000 things in my head about it, it's hard to regurgitate that information considering it just happened. I don't know if that makes an abundance of sense, but it's kind of how my brain works sometimes, and it's why certain videos that I will make, I can talk for 8.5 hours, and certain ones I talk for 5 minutes. Yeah. I don't know. I really like this. Did I mention I'm really liking Volume 9? Did I mention I really like RWBY? Yeah, like, again, you got to have that examination. Again, I think there is a lot of, and I actually really like that this is the case, there is a lot of return to the original first 2 volumes of RWBY. And the reason I think that's so interesting is because the original first 2 volumes of RWBY are, by my personal opinion, and I think by a lot of people's, or at least anyone who's kind of not being completely blinded by nostalgia, easily without question the 2 weakest volumes in the show. However, there is some really good shit in there. There is, especially when it comes to establishment of characters, world building. You know, there is, especially in Volume 1, it's all fucking set up, and then they punch a bird and a big bug once. Like, other than that, it's pretty much all set up. And then, you know, Volume 2, you get this, you know, this bit of time with the girls to kind of establish who they really are and what they're caring about and what their goals are going to be in life. And, you know, you literally have that conversation with Oobleck, and you know, it's, for a lot of people, it's a fucking amazing part of the show that they hold on to very dearly. Again, the reason everyone's like, Oobleck's kind of the fucking best teacher is because Oobleck has that little arc where he gets to, you know, get the girls to think about who they are and what are you, you know, and I really like that we got to re-examine that again. Almost a fucking decade later. Obviously for them it's been like a year to it's been like 2 years. For us it's been fucking 10. Yeah, to have that conversation with them and to see the other 3 girls so fucking resolute Like, they don't have any question at this point, which is so interesting. Again, it's that juxtaposition of, it was the exact opposite. The other three girls had no idea what the fuck they were doing. They didn't know why they were doing it. They're constantly making excuses for what they're trying to do. They have these goals, but they have absolutely no idea of how to even come close to achieving them. They have all these different things. They don't know what truly matters to them beyond a baseline understanding of, like, well, you know, my dad fucked everything up, and that sucks, and I'm stuck in between that and, you know, what I aspire to be, like with Nick, and what the fuck does that make me? Or, you know, Blake trying to, as baby Blake here it mentions, like, trying to walk between the worlds of both being a human and being an animal, trying to find that barrier, and, you know, that you have, like, where you belong, that idea of, like, how do you make things right, that justice that she was always looking for. There's these bad things in the world, how the fuck can I stop them? And she's like, well, that's how. I'm gonna be the funnest. I'm going to be the representation. I'm going to be this bridge, because fuck you, someone has to, and I'm gonna do it. And again, you have something like with Yang. And Yang's interesting because obviously Yang starts off with kind of not really an incredibly hard line defined purpose, at least in that conversation. Obviously, she does have this drive to find her mom, which, and I do think there's definitely a significant argument to make with that search for a raven was part of trying to make her feel whole, you know? Again, out of all of I obviously Weiss is my personal favorite of those girls, and obviously I love Blake a lot, though I tend to underrate her a lot. I think a lot of people do, which is a shame, because Blake is genuinely phenomenal and has had some incredible storytelling in her entire parts of RWBY, you know. It's had entire swaths of the story devoted to her, and for good reason. But it can be easy to kind of underrate her, and I do wish I did that less. I think it also especially happens later on in the show, because she does kind of take a bit more of a backseat after having such a, you know, incredibly forward-facing role with, like, the menagerie stuff and stuff like that. But, like, I love both those characters. And I obviously love Yang too. Yang was originally my favorite of the original four, and then I met Pyrrha, and then I was like, oh my god! And then that happened, and I was like, oh. And then there was the perfect snow angel. Anyway, so yeah, you know, she was always kind of my favorite, and one of the reasons why, and obviously it didn't really register for why it would be so important until, you know, we were faced with why it's so fucking important. But that original quote from her trailer and whatnot, that the scathing eyes, you know, imperfections and such, ask that we be symmetrical and all of that. I've always appreciated that a lot, and I think it's a really compelling quote. I think it's my favorite of the three, personally, or Does RWBY have one? I don't think she has one in her trailer. I don't think she does. I've watched it a billion times, and I couldn't tell you, but I'm pretty sure she does not. But I know the others do, obviously. And, you know, I've always appreciated that, and obviously you get to really get experienced with it, as obviously she ends up losing her arm. But, you know, she's always kind of been trying to find who she is and what, you know, what it means to be right, to be just right. And I think that's one of the things, like, again, I think a lot of people don't really register why Yang being Goldilocks is so interesting, because that's her entire fucking thing, is trying to be just right. And I made like a big thread on this on Twitter a while back. I don't know if I could ever find it again, but it was basically this whole thing about why I thought Yang was so interesting, and why that quote was so interesting, and why those character illusions are so interesting, is because it's really easy to not think too deeply about someone like Yang, for example. But again, when you put it in that Goldilocks context of everything being just right, and you put it into, you know, comparison to a scene like this, where she is literally debating with herself of, like, you could just be you could be perfect. You could be exactly the way you would want to be. You can have your fucking arm back. Everything can just, you can be perfect. You can be just right. And she's like, fuck no. Are you kidding me? That's not right. That I wouldn't be me then. That constant is a very common, obviously, discussion. I think it's a very important one, and it's one I've had to have with myself a lot, because I've had some fucking moments in my life which aren't great. I've made mistakes, as we all have, some small, some that I will inevitably take to my fucking grave. But like when you, it's those moments, it's those painful moments, those times we get hurt, those times we hurt ourselves, those times we make dumbass fucking choices, the times we make our mistakes that make us into who we are now. I would not be what I consider to be a pretty fucking decent person if I probably wasn't such a fucking shithead earlier on in my life. I thoroughly despise who I used to be. But if I wasn't that, I wouldn't know how much I disliked it, that I would constantly make the effort to be not that, to be me, to be this. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm a fuck up. I got a lot of issues. But I am an infinitely happier person with who I am myself. Like, again, I've mentioned a lot recently. The past 2 years have been pretty fucking bad. Do you know what's kind of crazy to me? Almost none of it had anything to do with me hating myself. And that was so out of the norm for me. That's so not how I've lived most of my life. Most of my life, my problem has been, I hate me. I hate this. I hate how I look. I hate how I act. I hate how I think. I hate how I treat other people. I hate all of this. I hate everything that's ever happened to me. I hate this, and I hate... All of it was about how wrong this is. And don't get me wrong. Little to be desired still. But... And I can make those jokes because it doesn't, I only half mean it. Like, yeah, kind of ugly. But hey, you know what? I'm not a shit person. Pretty fucking proud of who I am these days. Yeah, I'm a fuck up. I don't go anywhere besides here and work. I can't even go to work myself. I have to get driven around. But I'm not hurting anyone. I don't treat people badly. I care about people. I'm always fighting to care about people. I'm always trying to make people happy. I'm happier myself because I decided to start caring about things that matter to me. Like that it's a very classic conversation that I think resonates with me very, very dearly. And it's one of the reasons I've always appreciated that from Yang. And so much of Yang has been her trying to find out for herself what is her perfect, what is her just right. And again, just like kind of with the story, it's not, just the fire or just the cold or just, it's not just these extremes. It's this middle ground. It's this kind of perfectly imperfect. And that's how I summed it up in that thread, was just like, that is what makes her perfect. That's what makes her just right, is that she isn't. It's the things about her that are a little off. She's kind of silly. She's a dingus. She's fucked up. Her arm's gone. she doesn't always make the right decision. She's a human being. But that's kind of what she's supposed to be. I don't know, I've always appreciated that. And again, it kind of did give me a little bit of a chance to talk about that thread I made before. I would love to see if I could find it, but I don't think I can. I'm sure I could. I'm too incompetent to do so. But yeah, no, I've always appreciated that in Yang, and I really appreciate her, the fact that she is very aware of it in this moment. And again, that's the thing that I really, again, just appreciate about it in general, is getting to see them so fucking resolute, again, is the best way to say it. And it's so... It really hurts when you then get forced to immediately... That, again, as soon as they start rolling through, I'm like, it's going to hard cut to RWBY, and she's going to be fucking gone. And there it is. And it's just... It sucks. Because, again, I did make an entire hour-long video talking about RWBY and why I think she's so goddamn unique and cool and fascinating and wonderful. And maybe if I hadn't done that, I'd have more to say here in this episode. But again, we spend so much of the show with this impression that RWBY just knows what she's doing. That that she can do no wrong. That she's got it all on lock, that she knows that she always is going to do the right thing. And don't get me wrong, I got faith in the girl. 9 times out of 10, she's gonna do the right fucking thing. But that's a lot of fucking weight on a person's shoulders, and it is getting so impossibly hard for her to keep wearing that mask of confidence. Again, you get this back and forth between her and her younger self. And it is interesting because it really is. It's interesting because with the other girls, it definitely is without question their insecurities coming to try and face them and them resolutely telling them to get fucked. With RWBY, it's really interesting because I think more so than the others, there's more validity in what little RWBY it has to say here, because the problem with RWBY is she's progressively allowing herself to become that she is allowing the RWBY that we follow around to become more and more the person that Weiss, Blake, and Yang are actively fighting in that scene. If that makes sense. To me, that's kind of how that works. And it's not to say that obviously, this younger version of herself is throwing out some not amazing advice as well. But it's her having to face that. And again, she's spent so much of her time not facing it. Again, I mentioned in that other video, I'm pretty sure, unless I didn't, going back to that scene with her and Jean really early on in the Jean arc, because it's fucking great, shut up. You having that moment, and she has that bit, and hey, no, the cute, adorable note moment, which in the moment is really adorable, but you think about it now is really fucked up, because it's kind of, don't get me wrong, there's a valid point in there, but also there's a limit. I think was Aaron? I think so. I believe kind of a cool, talented music person in the community does really awesome fucking 8-bit versions of songs and stuff. I got to meet a little bit over the course of the hiatus, especially with RWBY EIQ stuff. Is a cool person. But I think they summed it up really well with one of the kind of really interesting things about this volume and about RWBY as a character that works so fucking well is the show has always had, especially post Monty, has always had the theme of keep moving forward, keep going, be resolute, be strong, carry on in your path, do the right thing, move on, grow, proceed, and all of that is good. However, much like everything else in life, there is a limit. There is a point when that becomes unhealthy. If you just run away from everything, if you constantly put everything down, if you throw it all behind you, if you always are pushing forward and you're never taking the time to handle anything, it's going to fucking eat you. And that is RWBY's problem. She doesn't know how to fucking stop when she really needs to. And I don't mean stop as in give up. I mean stop as in just fucking breathe. And that's not something she has ever let herself do. Again, I cannot wait to go back and rewatch all of RWBY again with the added context of getting to see this thing that I've always known is in RWBY. Has always been in the fucking, again, has been in the side content, has been in the show proper, if you paid attention, all of this shit. The fact that RWBY's brain is rough. It's not good. Girl needs a fucking hug. But getting to see all of that in such an in-your-face thing, because it has to be in your face, because it's not in your face for you, it's in your face for her, because she can't avoid it anymore. She has to face it, and that's why I think it's so goddamn good and interesting, and I really want to see those scenes again. I've watched them a billion goddamn times, but I want to watch them a billion more with the added context and the thought process of where she is now and how she's thinking through it and how she's forced to face it. But yeah, like again, to that scene, like that is a good scene that does illuminate a very positive thing about Ruby, which is she is fucking persistent. She is that hope. She is the light that burns away the darkness. She's great. But again, in that scene, you're a leader now, Jean. You can't afford to be a failure. Or you're not allowed to be a failure. Ruby's fucking had everyone. Again, I'm not the first person to have pointed it out either, but the fact we just spent the past episode or two literally with Ruby carrying her team on her shoulders. In the most literal sense possible. Ruby has always been carrying the entire world on her fucking shoulders. You know, again, young Ruby even points it out too. Like, fucking everyone is counting on you. You are remnant Jesus. You realize that, right? That's kind of rough, huh? Ain't that a bitch, you know? But it's what you do with that. And the thing is Ruby's always faced it with that, like, yeah, of course, I'll do that, because that's the right thing to do. And she's right, it is the right thing to do. But that doesn't mean you have to do it alone. That doesn't mean, again, I don't know shit about fucking religion, but to continue on with the metaphor, I guess, doesn't mean you can't have someone help lift up the big fucking wooden cross a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they couldn't in that story. I don't remember. I just remember it didn't end well for that lad. Anyway, it's not my area of expertise. I might have grew up here in that fucking book, but I don't know what the fuck it means. I'll deep dive into lore and Ruby. Lore in there is kind of wild. I'm more of a Pokemon and fucking Ruby kind of guy. But fucking stupid. But yeah, no, like she really needs to learn to let other people help carry the load. She's never really caught on to the fact, kind of similar to something that Weiss had to learn pretty early on, is you're not in it alone, dude. And again, Blake had to learn the same. They've all had to learn this. Ruby's just kind of the last one who hasn't fucking figured it out yet. Yang needs to learn that, like, hey, you can rely on people. Not everyone is just gonna fucking run away from you. And sometimes the people who are doing that are genuinely doing it to help. Even if, don't get me wrong, it's the wrong thing to do. I love you, Blake. It was the wrong thing to do. But it was done with extremely good intention, you know? And then again, Blake having to learn the same thing. That, again, is one of the reasons why that conversation is so goddamn great between her and Son. It's why fucking, like, Morning Follows Night is such a fucking banger. And not just because I used to be really big into Black Sun back in the day. I still got a little place for it in my heart. I think they'd make a fantastic throuple. Anyway. Point is, let's proceed. Anyway, it's why that scene's so goddamn good is Sun finally kind of breaking through the silly haha funny of it all to be like, you've got to fucking listen to me here. You're not alone. I know that's like your whole fucking thing is like, I'm such a fucking loner. I'm so sad, woe is me. And again, I love Blake. But, you know, kind of giving her some shit for it and having that moment of like, hey, we're your fucking friends. Let someone else help you. You can't stop us from helping you. What a dick move. I know you don't mean it that way, but that's kind of what it is. And again, has to say the same thing, like Yang would say the same. And then Weiss, very similarly, especially like with, again, you can add an IQ in there as well, obviously, with everyone coming to save her ass. But even just within the main confines of the show, like, her having to learn to be a teammate rather than a leader fits into that, you know? Her entire thing of finding a family that's more of a family than Jacques ever fucking could be. You know, she's needed a lot of help to try and find out who she is in life. To be able to show her other perspectives in the world, to show her who she really is rather than just what some asshat in a fucking clip-on tie says she should be, you know? And it's really powerful. And again, I don't think she has quite as clear an example maybe as the other two with what I was saying there, but the point is the same, is learning to rely on others, you know. Like, it's almost like the theme of one of the many themes of the show is like working together. It's almost like the villain's main theme song is called Divide. Maybe James wasn't so smart about things. But yeah, stuff like that. And just RWBY hasn't been able to learn any of that yet. And that's what she needs to now. And she's, again, it's getting harder and harder and harder for her to fucking realize, or to not realize, the exact opposite of what I just said, to deny it anymore. And again, I don't necessarily want her to break down, but she's fucking gonna if you don't classify what she already has, you know? But, yeah, you've gotta break that fucking barrier that she's got built up in her fucking head, and I think we can here. Also, yeah, no, it's a fucking filler season, guys. You fucking idiots. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a little combo, again on Twitter the other day, just being like, you know, trying to have this conversation about like, hey man, you can't always, you know, try and fix everyone else's shitty opinions. That are like, yeah, I know, and I'm trying to be better about it, and like, but you know, the main reason I'm doing this over here is for like other people who are just cool are gonna listen to stuff, having this conversation or whatever. But you know, like, yeah, no, it's something I'm always trying to work on, trying not to be so goddamn, you know, aggressive towards the shittier side of the community and stuff like that. First thing I see in there was, I actually think it's really funny when you do. I'm quite a fan when you tell them to eat shit and die. Which I would never say to their face. Anyway, we're gonna. I don't know, man. I really like this episode. This is one of those ones I'm gonna want to rewatch multiple times. Hopefully, Jeff is back now. He's returned from his home. He has returned to his place of relaxation, and we may kick back and watch these 3 episodes, and I can fuck with him the entire time. Be like, "You're not fucking ready, man," and this, and ooh, what's gonna happen? Does everybody die? And then he's gonna be like, "Shut up, shut the fuck up." Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to see more of it. Oh my god, I already forgot the fucking CL thing. Kruby, you ain't shit. You you some motherfuckers. You realize that? I mean, you know you realize it. That was such an incredibly personally targeted attack. I've never seen the most intentionally directed sassery towards one specific person in an audience of a show before. That's hilarious. I can't wait to see Arnold's reaction to that. It's such a fucking... Oh, it's so great. Again, the only way they could have made it better is if they fucking name drop time dilation in there somehow. But it's fucking... That's amazing. That fucking random CL chick ever show up again in a meaningful way? I can just imagine he was like... Yeah. I had just got done watching his reaction before this happened. I got some fucking lunch and did that before I started reacting. It's just, it's fucking hilarious. I can't wait. Y'all are fucking the best. I love RWBY so much. If you don't fucking greenlight Volume 10 right now so that more sass can be established, if for no other reason. I mean, there's other reasons that are much better, but for the sake of the bit, for the sass alone, it was just so targeted. Oh, it's great. It's like the fucking moment when you know Oz explains that the long memory isn't a relic. You know, there's a little moment like, the community's all thinking about this one thing and da-da-da-da-da, and let's just kind of put this there so they don't have some fun with it, you know. Have a cute little wink and a nod. Here I don't know little about it. This is just fucking like staring Arnold dead in the face and like, I bet she's dead, huh? Like nothing happened. She never showed up, did she, huh? It was fucked up. It was hilarious. Fucking hilarious. I cannot wait to rewatch this. And I think I'm gonna have to end it there for the most part. I don't think I have too much other to say. I think Herb is pretty cool. I think he's interesting. I do find it interesting because, like, again, there's been this thing of whether or not whether we can trust fucking Cece at all. But again, you have they do generally seem like they're trying legitimately to protect, you know, the gang, like trying to protect Team RWBY. Like, they do seem to be genuinely trying to do helpful things, like straight up jumping in there to try and fucking help. At least that's the vibe I get, even if they do constantly radiate a slightly sinister edge. Again, that was always going to happen. It's RWBY. Wait. How can you not? Though everyone keeps pointing out, again, like my main two, you know, experiences with him are as Hubert and fucking Akechi. The two sketchiest motherfuckers on the planet. Just pure unbridled untrustworthiness. But apparently, I think is he in Critical Role or some shit like that he's involved in. Something much more recent, where he's apparently like super like unassuming or sweet or charming, and just like has not a questionable bone in his body or whatever the fuck. It's really funny to me because I'm so used to fucking Hubert's damn near vampire looking ass, fucking sinister looking son of a bitch. Don't get me wrong, I love Hubert, and in another life we could have been great friends. But they had to try and murder my fucking wife. So, like, I'm like, Edelgard, stop. Don't do that. Cease your transgressions. Anyway. Robbie's fucking great, and I love Cece. Again, I mentioned it earlier, and I've been thinking about it all fucking week. It's just like, number one, I want Cece and Little to come with us, regardless, because I think they're just really fun characters, but I just want a scene of this little shit just staring at Salem and just running his fucking mouth. And I know I do keep saying his. I do apologize for that because, you know, Cece does seem to be more of the they of the side of the thing, so I do apologize for that. And just know that's not intentional. I'm just a motor mouth. I've more or less got it down for a little, but the cat is harder for me for one reason. I don't know why. So forgive me on this. But yeah, I just want a scene of them just fucking with her. just being a dick. They're very funny. Anyway, I'm really, really enjoying it. In general, it was really good. Also, Herb's got a great design. He's grody looking, but it's really cool. Great fucking episode. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here, because I think I have anything more to say. Though, much like with the previous episode, with learning little things like, and this is how a king turns into a prince? What the fuck does that mean? Huh? What did that mean, bud? Champ? Friend? What does that mean? Also, I think it's interesting that kind of like Cece was saying, I forgot to actually finish my thought with this, is interesting that kind of Herb was doing kind of maybe the thing that he was, that they were otherwise trying not to do, or should normally not be doing, instead of trying to get them to grow. It almost seemed like maybe, unintentionally maybe at least, was, you know, kind of potentially making things worse, making them try and grow and to change into something they're not supposed to be, rather than, you know, the people that they really are supposed to be, you know. Again, that idea of metamorphosis and change, like, that's great, don't get me wrong, and there's been a lot of that in the show, but also, you need to know when to change. You need to know what to actually change into, you know. Times change, and so do we when it is our time to change. But if it's not our time to change, then fucking, yeah. Yeah, the other 3 girls, they did that shit already. That's what we want to see. We want to see the ones that we just got here in this episode. We want to see, I'm Weiss fucking Schnee, get fucked, nerd. Yeah, you little racist shit. We want to see that. RWBY, on the other hand, you know. Yeah, there was that. Yeah, at least until I rewatched the episode a couple hundred times, I can really deep dive into other stuff I might have missed. I think that's probably where I'm gonna have to end it. But yeah, no, I find it interesting that, again, I don't know if it's Cece or Herb. I'm pretty sure it was actually Herb. Mentioned, you know, how a king becomes a prince, which makes me then think, okay, wait, did the king not die or something like that? Did the king literally turn into the prince? Did it, like, revert in age? And if so, why? And also, there was the conversation before in the previous episode that I ever mentioned is with CC, is like, you know, you to do the very thing you were put on this acre to do. Again, it's the world seems very like it's a clusterfuck, but it's a very intentionally curated clusterfuck. And I want to know why. And by whom? It's probably those 2 dickheads. The brothers douchebag, if you will. But I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious to see. I'm really curious to see. Again, I'm very curious if we're going to see them show up here or not. I feel like you probably don't, right? We probably don't. You may get references to the fact that that this is some other creation of theirs or some bullshit. But I feel like we don't. I feel like we just don't see the gods until the end of the show. I think you absolutely could show them here, but I think you don't until the end. Which, again, involves us telling them to fuck off. If it's anything else, it would be genuinely one of the only things in RWBY I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Because fuck those 2. God Animals, seems slightly cooler. But, you know. Light and Dark, dickheads. Losers, schmucks. Anyway. But, there's that. There was one other thing. Oh, yeah, and the only other thing I'll mention is, the Carpenter. They mentioned the Carpenter, which I assume, then, is not the Rusted Lady, is the blacksmith lady. Who do a big smackadoo, you know? Rather a carpenter rather than a blacksmith, you know? And again, the Rusted Knight they keep building up. I do think it's interesting because all the other characters seem to be characters that previously existed within the universe, but the Rusted Knight seems like it builds further and further onto the idea of it being Jean. So it's interesting how that works. And we didn't get any further continuation with whatever the fuck's up with Neo, so, you know. Just over there stomping the shit out of that poor motherfucker. Cease. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and give it some love. Thank you, as always. This was fun. It was awesome. It was great. I love it. I'm sorry that I don't have an 8.5 hour long discussion this time. But again, I think this episode did a pretty good job of asking its questions and answering most of them. So I say as I just asked like 18 questions. Anyway, I still can't get over that fucking CL comment. Petty motherfuckers. I love RWBY so much. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, give us some love. Patreon, Discord. There's so much going on the Patreon right now. It's the first time it's ever been legitimately great. Fucking Discord. Talk to me. Be my best friend. Eat pizza. I don't even like pizza. That must be pizza anyway. I'll see you next time. Poll's still going on. Please go ahead and vote in that if you have not already. I asked Bochi and Aquatope from it, not because we're not watching them, but because I've already seen the first 2 episodes of both, and we're continuing to watch them as we speak. But anyway, yeah. So go ahead and do that. It's running till the 25th. So. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna go watch this 40 more times. Do as lemons, everybody. Oh, bye-bye. Smooches. Merry Christmas. I love you. Marry me. But only if your name is Weiss. Okay, not only. The list is significant, but I'm just saying that's the perfect. That's just right. With her perfectly imperfect, goofy ass. I love her so fucking much. She was so great. Fuck you, I'm Weiss Schnee. Let Weiss say fuck.